Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is another great day that we've been allowed to see, and we're so grateful about it. Well, welcome to the platform of Project 365. I am Portia Wheatley. I am the founder and the president of a nonprofit organization acknowledged as Trophy of Life Incorporated. And we have a great assignment to render hope, encouragement, and inspiration to you, our audience, the whole wide world. We're grateful about it. He's allowed us to be consistent for 105 days. And it's amazing. It's amazing. Every day we will bring you a message of hope, encouragement, and inspiration. Well, let me take a moment to bring in my co-host.
Hello, everyone. My name is Takara Swan, for those who do not know, and I am so happy to be here today. Today, we have a wonderful and amazing guest that I personally know, and I just love her so much. But before we get started, just a couple of things. If we want you to go to our YouTube page, please, and subscribe, share, like, comment. We love your feedback. You know, you are a part of our team, and we are taking our message globally, but we can't do it without you. And we're just happy that you're here with us today. So let's take it away. We got someone great today.
We definitely do. Today, our guest is none other than the newly minted Latonia Valencia Moss. It is such a great pleasure to have you on board with us on today. And we really thank you and appreciate you for accepting our invitation to come and be with us on today. Our topic for today is talking about don't give up. I know that everyone listening to me today have had some type of experience in their life where they just wanted to give up, throw up their hands, throw in the towel. But there's so much more to life. And there is, as I always say, there's always, as long as you have breath in your body, you have purpose. There is purpose in you. So don't forget that. But today we're going to hear from Dr. Moss, and she's going to share with us some experiences that she had in her life that almost made her give up. However, the strength, the power, the resilience, all of that rose up in her and said, don't give up. And that power within, she's going to share some of that with us to encourage us not to give up. Welcome, Latonia.
Hi, Portia. Shawan, thank you for having me today. It's wow, what a journey it has been. And when you're talking about a topic of don't give up, I'm probably right now, so I'm gonna share this from this perspective. I'm probably right now in this moment the weakest I've ever been. I've never in my life have been this weak, this vulnerable, this broken, this I'm the weakest I have ever been, so much so that the people in my life, they're like, we need, where's your power? We need you to stand up. And not that I'm not standing, but my mom just passed. And I just did not have a full picture of what her transition would do to me, or how involved she was in my not giving up, how much a part of my life she was. My number one cheerleader. I would say my son was number two, or maybe sometimes they vacillated between one and two. So in the process of doing this monumental thing, the journey to Dr. Moss, doing this monumental thing, and there are people who have doctoral degrees, or there are people who tackle education and they strive and they do it well. This is degree number 4 for me. So this is my fourth degree. And all of my degrees prior to this one pretty much happened, fast. I finished my BA with insanity. I took 57 credits in 1 year. Right? Yeah, see, look at y'all faces. So I finished that bachelor's degree in sane. So I don't advise people to do that, although I can document that and show that in 1 year I made up my mind I was done. I don't want to do this anymore. I mapped out a plan. 57 credits later, I graduated with a bachelor's degree at Morgan State University. So now, decades later, at that same university, I found myself in a doctoral program. And the first semester, I said, I got 3 degrees. I'm good. I'm a professor. I'm doing good in my life. Thank you, God, for everything that you have given me. I'm good. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to take this journey. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I don't necessarily need it. One of my masters is what's called a terminal degree. I have a master's in fine art, so it's a terminal degree. It could get me in some doors. So I'm like, I'm good. So what? Somebody will never call me doctor. Okay, they call me professor. I'm good. And the Holy Spirit said to me, for those who are believers and those who subscribe to that, the Holy Spirit said to me, I am going to do this through you. I'm going to do this through you. But you got to show up for the classes, right? You got to, but I'm going to do it through you. And in doing it through you, get this, you will come out with scars. I was told that going in, you're going to come out of this process with scars. You will not become Dr. Moss and just be like, oh, girl, boy, that was a piece of cake. He said, you going in, he told me that you will come out of this with the testimony. And when you sit around other doctors and you talk about this degree, you won't talk about this degree from the perspective of, it looks like we're frozen. Are we frozen? I don't know what happened. Yeah.
You're good. You're
I'm
good on
good.
my end. Uh-huh.
Good on your end. Okay. So I'm like
Yeah, you're
frozen.
good on my end.
I'm frozen on my end. So he said you won't come out of this without that testimony, without being able to sit around other people who've gone through this journey and just be like, oh, that was a piece of cake, just help me. No, he said, you're gonna come out of this with a testimony. You're gonna come out of this with scars. You're gonna be able to show people that, yes, this is the wounding that I experienced. This is what has happened to me. And so when God tells you something like that in relationship with him, you still have no idea what that means, right? You still have no idea what the trials and tribulations that you're going to go through, what that means, what that looks like. How is that? You don't know. So even though, you blindly go, and then semester after semester, it's like, okay, God, first semester, my best friend was murdered. No, that was the first year she was murdered. And when she was murdered, my mother was going through another bout with lung cancer. So those two things were happening simultaneously. And I was like, Jesus, like, and somebody being murdered just had an effect on me that I cannot explain, while my mother is getting her second or third diagnosis with lung cancer. So this is a long journey. Here I am, a doctoral student, and so my chair, my advisor told me, you might want to quit. You might want to stop out a minute. This is a lot. So this is a lot. And I said to all of my teachers, no. I said to all my my son, I'm sorry, my son came home from school. And he said, Ma, I had a substitute teacher today. And I told her, you working on, I'm home on a couch, I can't move. My son said that death was the only time I just couldn't move. And he said, the substitute teacher told me to tell you, her brother died while she was working on her doctoral degree. And she didn't finish. And so she's a substitute teacher today. And she told me to tell you, if you can do anything, press. Press. Because if you stop out through grief, that ability to get back in that flow, it's going to be challenging. So I said to my professors, I said, I'm not going to turn anything in on time. So you already know that. Nothing is going to be turned in on time. Give me a minute to get my bearings together, and I'm going to finish the semester. And I finished that semester with a 4.0 GPA. And it took other believers around me coming and saying, Latonia, you got this. Valencia, you got this. Come on, Moss, you got this. So I want to say about not giving up. It's not something, people, please, if you don't hear anything from me, notice it is not something that's done in isolation. I am not here by my own strength alone. I am here on the strength of those people who preceded me, those people who walked this journey with me. I'm not here because I'm some great, wonderful, magical, fantastic being. No, I am here because of the tribe that God put around me to hold me up. My girlfriend who read for me night in, and my girlfriend who sat with me in the library with books and papers, and she got a stack and she said, okay, I'll check your references. And I'm not here. I want to make that clear. I am not some marvelous, grand person, even filled with the Spirit of God. I could not do this by myself without a tribe, without people who believed in me when I did not believe in myself. When I said, you know what, I don't have the mental prowess and acumen to excel at this level. Getting a doctoral degree hurt my brain. I didn't even know a brain could hurt. I was like, this, mind you. And it's because I have a disability. So, which taxed me in a way that maybe other people aren't taxed. Maybe other people can just jump in the race and go. So I had some disabilities that I was contending with neurologically, and just overwhelmed because throughout this process, I had a sick mom, a terminally ill mom who we're dealing with that all stages of, we thinking she's recovering. We think, okay, da, da, da. And so in my last year, so literally last year, May 2022, I will graduate in May 2021. I had a meltdown, an emotional meltdown. And I was so grateful to God for people who I don't even talk to on a regular basis, that God put me on their radar. And they call, Moss, what's going on? What's going on? God bringing you to me. Like, are you all right? I'm like, no, I'm not. What's going on? What's going on? I'm telling them, like, Dad, I'm on my back, and my mom is sick as well, and she's always been my biggest cheerleader. Oh, you can do this. Come on. I'm like, Ma, I don't know what to do. I'm in a situation where if I move this way, I'm going to cause an avalanche to fall on me. And if the avalanche falls on me, I will not be able to crawl from under this avalanche. I said, I'm I'm dealing, you're dealing with doctoral degree, you're dealing with political issues. So I said, I'm wedged in between this political thing, and I do not know how to navigate it because I'm not a doctor yet. They all doctors. I'm not a doctor. How do I navigate that? And so with just I'm gonna call it Moss method. The Moss method is that you got to get still and you got to tap into transcendent knowledge. And transcendent knowledge is understanding that I was predestined for a thing. We spend so much time trying to forget the past and forget our regrets and forget our mistakes that we don't spend enough time trying to remember who we are in Him, who created us to be, and what He said about us. And when God speaks about us, He speaks about us knowing every trial and tribulation we're going to experience. He don't speak despite them or, oh no, when that happens, you can quit. No. He knows everything that's going to come and knock you flat on your back. When I defended my proposal, a sister came to my house, laid prostrate on my floor, and prayed and interceded me while tears were filled up in the bottom of my eyes like this, while my girlfriends texting me and they're like, Moss, come on, you got this. With everything in me that I'm holding the tears here because I don't want them to come down my face because I got to do this. And when I finished and I was able to just exhale, one of my colleagues told me, she said, I got off of your defense and went to my husband and just like felt, and my husband, he was like, what's wrong? And she was like, oh my God, I don't know what happened with Moss's proposal. It was so attacking that even my chair said, I've never experienced anything like it in 30 years. I don't know who you are and like what it is that you're going through to become this. But I got that water here, and she's, I hear her over here praying, speaking in tongues, and I'm on here like this. I'm on Zoom trying to hold it together. And I'm just being attacked with questions. It was just the weirdest thing. But what I hear is Moss method, transcendent knowing, knowledge. God said, before the foundation of the world, I called you to be Dr. Moss. And so I need you to go through the fire because this is a predestined thing. So now I need you to remember. So oftentimes we trying to forget, I ain't good enough, I ain't enough. No, God said, I need you to remember because I equipped you with the intellect. I equipped you with everything that you needed as a seed. So now now it's just fruit on the tree. But everything that you were ever going to be and do was inside that seed, May 19th, 1965. So I need you to tap into knowing who I made you. And I know this fire turned up high, so it became a point where I just had to, this is a prophesied place. I had to keep saying that. I'm not here by accident. I'm here by divine providence. I'm not here because I did anything spectacular. I'm here because before the foundation of the world, God deemed it so. He predestined it so. So now I got to do is link up with him and follow out the path that was laid for me. Even though I'm being attacked on every side, even though somebody's laying on my floor prostrate, praying me through, I'm in agreement with what I know through transcendent knowledge. And that agreement got me to not give up. That agreement. So now when it gets to the end, and my mother calls me on the phone and she says, we thought she had a stroke. She said, I have a tumor. It's a brain tumor. It went from 1 tumor to 18. And I'm at the end. And I couldn't write no more. I'm sick. I'm going to the doctor. The stress level my doctor's like, you need therapy or you're going to die before your mother. Like it was so bad. The heat was turned up so high. He was like, Ms. Moss, you need help. So now this is outside of my prayer group. Now I need mental help because the stress was so bad trying to manage her and myself and my career. My son is graduating. I'm trying to manage all of these things and I'm not doing well at it. So I got into therapy. He was like, you need help. And one day I couldn't write for weeks, maybe a couple of months, and the clock is ticking. I got a deadline to make. I'm watching the time portion.
No. Go ahead. This is too good to
stop.
stop.
I'm good. I'm good with being obedient to my directives. And I had bleeding ulcers. So I'm bleeding out one end, crying out the other. And the Holy Spirit said this to me again. You can't do nothing about what's happening to your mother. You got no say over that. You got no jurisdiction over that. But let me tell you what you do have jurisdiction over, that dissertation. I need you to write. That's what you got jurisdiction on. With this same laptop that's in front of me right now, I literally, this is not a, just some fiction, right? I literally typed it in tears on my keyboard, on my keypad, literally tears. Bleed not one end, tears coming out the other end, sick, toppled over a laptop, because I hear God saying, I predestined this. Don't matter what heat is up. I've designed you to go through the fire. Go through. And I typed, and I wouldn't stop. And I got up every day crying and typing, listening to the diagnosis, just flinching every time the phone rang, not knowing if they're calling to say she passed. I typed, and I did not type until I turned that thing in, pressed submit, and then got on a plane to go to Florida to see about my mom. And while I was there in her radiation, I'm on the phone with my chair, and we're going over the defense. You are going to defend. This is what you're going to do. And then she dies. And I got this one more stage I got to get through. And my chair's like, if you don't do this, you talking about next year. I said, okay. I came back to Baltimore because I was like, I need to defend in my home. And came back, got my same crew together. They're praying, they're circling me. Everybody knows my mom has passed. I'm at the day before the deadline. She wanted to give me, she said, I'm gonna give you time to bury your mom and do whatever you need to do. And then you got to come show us you Dr. Moss. And I did. And so in my last minute, I want somebody who has heard this today to know this, that when God predestines a thing, it doesn't mean that you just gonna show up with ease. But what it does mean is that you got to hold on to that knowledge that this is a God, this ain't me. And then when you partner with God with that knowledge, it doesn't matter what come your way, because you still have to be the incarnated thing, the incarnated manifestation of what God said about you. And baby, sir, ma'am, boy, girl, he cannot do it without you partnering with him. So had I given up, I would not be Dr. Moss today. There's our time.
This is so wonderful. So wonderful. I'm not concerned about the time right now. I remember the very first day of Project 365, Archbishop shared with me. He was my first guest, of course. And although I asked the presenters to do 20 minutes, of course, but he shared with me, Archbishop Ralph Dennis said, don't be so caught up with the time, because the quality of information or the share is way more important than trying to stick to the time. So I am so glad that you even took those moments. It wasn't even 60 seconds over the time, but there are times when you have something etched in stone and it may not go according to how you perceived it to go. And you might have to put extra to it. It's okay, because it's a God thing. My God, when you said partner with God, it's like you hear him above what you see, what is happening to you, what you think may happen. But when you partner with him and hear his voice, and then you have a praying tribe, OMG. Valencia, thank you so very much for not giving up, because that experience is going to help pull a whole lot of people through. A whole lot of people through. You can't. Losing your mom is one of the worst things that can happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that it's amazing, especially when you had a good relationship with your mother. Everyone can't say that. Everyone can't say they had a good relationship with their mom. But when you did, like you did, I know, I know. Where are you now with your um where you are with grieving? And because let the audience know how long ago it's been for your mom passing.
She passed February the 20th. So we're talking about 2 months, probably this week makes 2 months. And because of the stress of the dissertation that I was already in therapy for, because
Mhm.
anybody who has gotten a dissertation, um, before getting one, anyone who's gotten a doctorate degree, rather, before getting one, I'd be, oh, they just be, no, 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 no. They deserve to be called doctor.
Mhm.
If they have gone through the process that I have gone through, they deserve to be called doctor. And because there are millions of people who start a doctoral degree and they can't finish, that dissertation alone will whip your behind and whip you
Oh,
into a whole nother person.
I can
That
only imagine.
that to go through to write something where you're synthesizing 200 references with your own voice, and your own voice somehow still has to peek through all of the synthesizing of other people's voices. It's a feat like no other. So I was already stressed out trying to do that, and so then you put on top of that, your mom is fighting for her life, and she was fighting for her life. She didn't want to die. She was fighting for her life. We were praying, fasting, Lord, she wants 15 more years. Give her 15 more years. I'm fasting for my mom, 40 days, 40 days. I'm
Mm.
like fasting for her. Okay, mom, I'm with you. I'm the spiritual leader in my family. So I'm fasting with her. Okay, mom, we believe in God for 15 more years. And as I'm going to Florida, God is like, you're going to say goodbye, baby. I need you to wrap your mind and your heart around that. And even though I didn't want to believe that, because other people are prophesy to you and console you in a manner to, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. um and I got there, and I still, my graduation is in May, my son's graduation is in May, and I'm searching for joy every day. I'm searching for joy because I'm still so overwhelmed with grief. I miss, I get in my car and I go to call her. Boom, with Marty, she not here. Because things Ma passed the dissertation. She not here. My God, she not here. She not here. And so my son, Ma, got my cap and gown, but my mom's not here. I haven't got mine yet. And so I'm searching still for the joy. I'm searching for God, this monumental thing that you allowed me to do. You didn't tell me that it would come along the heels of the person who has believed in me above anybody, that believe. And then for her, and somebody called me when I put on Facebook that she was in hospice care, one of my colleagues, and I so appreciate him for doing that. He said, Moss, go, I know your mom's on her deathbed, but go read do your defense to her. Let her know what her daughter has been doing for the last two years. That had been great advice. So on her deathbed, she can't open her eyes. She's not talking. We're in the last hours of her presence here on earth. And I sat on the edge of that bed and I said, Mama, this is what I've been doing. I did a dissertation about us as Black women, I said, I've studied so much about Black women and where we fit at in the United States. And she's just lying there, and I'm telling her, I hope I made you proud, and I've done this and I've done that. And so right now I'm still sitting. We researched about grief, and it says grief is always present and it doesn't show up until it's needed.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it comes when it is needed to help you process the loss. And it is a profound loss. She can never be replaced, nor am I looking for somebody to replace her.
Absolutely not.
Irreplaceable. She's irreplaceable because of the complexity and the profoundness of being a daughter. I'm her oldest daughter. What that means being a daughter, and being a daughter who that she said was difficult. Difficult.
That's a whole nother. We're gonna have to bring you back for that one. Just that right there. Two things you said: African American women, Black women, with such an achievement, and then being that daughter. Yeah, we might have to do that because it is something that we want to bring out with an explanation or with reasoning or with, of course, encouragement to other ladies and family members. It is, thank you so very much for being transparent, for sharing, for causing others to be hopeful, encouraged, and inspired to continue and not give up. It's just amazing, and we're grateful to God for that. Takira, your closing statements?
You know,
when it start like that.
right.
No, talking about hope, encouragement, and inspiration. This is it. This is your whole journey, your whole experience, what you're going through. I just know God is he is using you, but I know it's gonna be some, even bigger than what you can imagine, which is why he told you in the beginning, this is gonna be hard, because if he did it, he know, you're only human. You're like, okay, it's too much. I'm gonna do this later. And he's like, no, I'm gonna tell you, you have to go through these things so that when you feel like, okay, I need to quit, like this is too much, you can remember, like, no, I told you this, and I'm still gonna be with you while you're going through it. I took notes, and my cheeks were hurting from smiling at first, and then I had to go off camera because I was tearing up, and I'm like, I don't think we've had a guest so far that maybe I had to grab my little hanky like more than once. I was like, whoop, I can't do this. But no, your testimony of your journey, it's so many levels to what you just said, that and it's so many levels of encouragement and so many levels of hope that you just stated that people can relate to and pull from and push themselves to keep going on and not quitting. Yeah, so let me just go through a couple of my notes, because I could go on for days, and stuff like this, but let me just say a few things, because you really, your story is so powerful. And we know each other. I already thought you were so powerful with what you've overcome in life, but this right here is just, a whole nother level that I know that you're going to be used for. So, one thing you did say, so you talked about transcendent knowledge, the Moss method. So is that a book or no? Like, what is going on? Isn't that such a great title? Because it's like, I wanna get more into this. Let's hear it again. The transcendent knowledge, the Moss method. There you go. Yeah. Find someone to do your forward, like that right there. I know you said you don't want to write anymore, but let's get to writing, So yeah, so I encourage our viewers, look into transcendent knowledge, because I know that didn't just come up for nothing.
No, it didn't.
It didn't. And also you talked about embracing and basically embracing what God has said about you, and who, and the path that he laid out for you, partnering with God. So especially to our non-believers out there, because we have so many viewers, who are various viewers. So just breaking that down, embrace the path that your life is going on, that God has laid before you. We believe in God, we believe in Jesus, but even if you don't, and that's not you don't believe in God, just embrace the path that is laid before you. Embrace that journey, because it is making you who you are supposed to be. The amount of strength that our guest has today, that she has gained from even going through this horrible beautiful but horrible process. It's like
Horrible. You
it's
can say
beautiful but
right
horrible
now.
at the
It's
same
horrible.
time. It's like it's a beautiful storm, and the strength that you have gathered from going through this, which is even going to get greater and greater. You would not and you will not be who you are supposed to be if you didn't go through this time. And the doors that are going to open and the opportunities that you're going to have would not be there if you did not go through this. So that's just another thing to remind yourself, because even though you have spoke so powerfully and you have all this knowledge that God is speaking through you to us, just to remember, okay, I went through all this because it's something way greater than I can even imagine. Because that's what I believe for you. I'm sure you didn't imagine being in this place, seriously. So, they say, God will bless you beyond your wildest dreams. Like, he has something in store for you more than you can even think of. And this is unless you didn't realize it, going through your grief, this is it. This is starting the path of getting to you where you're supposed to be. I can see it. I hope you can see it. No, I'm just speaking from my heart. I can see it. I hope you can see it. So those who are not believers, just embrace what you're going through. It's not pretty all the time, but the bigger picture is beautiful. And I don't think that anything happens by coincidence. I don't think there's any accidents. I think everything is just laid out and planned. And of course, we make our own choices. And even with that, the choices that you make, that's who you become. And that to me is even the consequences, the rewards, all of it's laid out. So finding out that path that is laid before you is like the first step. And I'm almost done. I just, you had so many layers. Even when God told you, okay, this is going to be rough, it's going to be a little hard, but do you see how he set that circle of people around you to be there? So we've said this on our broadcast so many times, your tribe is so important. And listen to God, listen to Holy Spirit, and say, who's supposed to be in my life right now? Because time is going by so fast. And the first way God restores the time and it catapults you into who you're supposed to be is, one, you got to listen to him, and two, you got to let go of those things and those people that aren't supposed to be there in your life, because that will push you to a place you're not supposed to be. So, or it'll make you go just a little bit to the left off course, but you still get on course to where you're supposed to go. So my non-believers out there as well, because I gotta talk to everybody. I'm almost done. You gotta get that circle of people.
She's having fun, Portia. I'm loving it. I'm like,
I wrote my little note.
This little together. I see a little girl, and I'm like,
right.
Get your tribe together, and remember, I know you remember a conversation in your foyer, Miss Portia, about building your dream team. Ask God, who's supposed to be in my dream team to make your dream for my life and my dreams come true. Amen. Ask yourself that, and ask God that, and he'll put those people there. So when things don't go your way or things become really hard and you just want to quit, those people will step right in, because it's divinely ordered. And then the last thing I want to say is, you talked about when you said partnering with God, because you are the incarnated manifestation of who God said that you are. I think you should write about that too. That's a whole nother book, and that's all I wanted to say. But I think, remember, I'm telling you, those two things, if you could write about those two things, if it's the Lord's will, if he puts it in your heart, I just feel like that's so powerful, and that's something that could really help everybody, no matter what they believe in. So that's it. I'm done. I'm quiet.
But remember, you're right, Valencia, remember little Takira?
Yes.
And all of this was in her evidently from the beginning, because God already placed it in there.
Absolutely.
So we call her missionary Takira.
Absolutely.
She has, I believe God has put us together, and she always wraps it up and puts a bow on it. So we're grateful to God. I hear that you have you started a new ministry. No, you didn't start a new ministry. change the name and doing the,
We can say it that's correctly. I started
okay.
a new ministry. It would take too long to say that, but let's go with what you said. So I started a new ministry. That is correct.
What is the name of it?
It's called Dynasty Culture Ministries. And it's a ministry that is about tapping into the bloodline of Jesus Christ and understanding that we are part of a bloodline. That's where that dynasty comes from. And I know everybody is saying kingdom, but I like the idea of dynasty, that you're tapped into a bloodline. And here's the thing about dynasty, it is that in China, every time a new dynasty came up, they believed that a mandate from heaven was given to these people to do X, Y, and Z. So we believe that we are mandated from heaven, that heaven sent us a mandate to present God a people. God said, present to me a people that would manifest purpose and destiny through loving me, loving themselves, and loving others. So we believe that. And so now we're creating that I'm finished my doctoral degree, so now I can get on board with really, as Takira said, creating the material, creating books, creating trainings and curriculum to help people siphon through all of the things that they see with the natural eyes and get them to move to transcendent knowledge that supersedes what we know on this level. It is through ascending. As long as you stay in the natural, as long as you experience life with your five senses, you will be stuck. It will be more challenging for you to move. Transcendent knowledge said, I go above what I understand with my five senses, and I ascend to a place, to a realm, to a God, or however people want to look at it for non-believers, and I download and I pull that which I agreed to before I incarnated. And so that's a level of belief system. But Jesus teaches us that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and he incarnated. And in the Garden of Gethsemane, we saw him struggling with his transcendent knowledge.
See, here we go.
You didn't come here to heal, you came here to die. So we saw in the Garden of Gethsemane that struggle with Jesus and that transcendent knowledge. He had to go above, because now that he's incarnated and you experiencing life and senses and people, you go like, I don't think I want to die for these people. You experience things when you incarnate, but it's only through prayer and worshiping God that you surrender. Not my will, thy will be done. Because I didn't come here of my own accord. I came here to incarnate, to do something, not just to be, to do.
Gotcha.
And it's through transcendent knowledge that I understand what that doing is.
Gotcha. Thank you. I tell now, is there contact information as far as, do you have a website?
We don't have a website.
Okay.
Start just like
you knew.
We know. So we are working on that.
No problem.
Writing out stuff, doing that. So we're on Facebook at Dynasty Culture page. You can also, and I'm gonna revamp my page too. It'll probably become Dr. Moss. So we're doing some things. I'm just trying to get through April and May, because I am graduating and my son is graduating. Thank God for that. So both class of 2021, and then the summer is gonna be on and popping.
Love it. Oh my God, this has been wonderful. This has just been wonderful. Thank you again. I appreciate you. Thank you, Missionary Swan. I appreciate you. Love it, Takira. And you're talking about Valencia. It just starting, and so much more. We speak that for you as well. That is so much more. You're touching the world, and we speak it to you. Hey, make that floor now. You step on top of that. Go farther. Partner with God. And then what she said? Yes. Partner with God. Okay, so just as an announcement for our widows and widowers, don't forget, save the date of July 17th. That is going to be our vow, which stands VOW, which stands for Voices of Widows and Widowers Empowerment Summit. Oh, we are going to have a ball. We are going to be empowered. We're going to be uplifted. We'll be having some laughter. We'll be having some dances. I was gonna say we might be having a little drink, but wine, water, soda. But we're just gonna have a good time. And it's just for widows and widowers. No topic untouched. Okay. So a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Just know we're gonna have a great time. And I just, as a reminder, don't forget to go to our website as well as YouTube to subscribe. All right. We love you with the love of God, and we shall see you again on tomorrow. At what time, Takira?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. God bless.
God bless. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.